5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh.
Blinking the Bar podcast.
All right, you want to do an intro?
No.
You don't want to do an intro?
Okay. No, I don't. I was not prepared for an intro. I feel like somebody just
All you have
came
to do is
by
say,
and said,
welcome
like,
to Breaking Bar Podcast.
Hey, what are you doing right now? Nothing. I want to talk about parenting.
I got it.
Okay.
Okay, all you had to say was, welcome to Breaking the Bar Podcast.
Okay. Welcome to Breaking the Bar podcast.
What's this podcast about?
It's about parenting and children and sometimes about marriage.
Oh, sometimes?
Well, most of the time because
Okay.
we're in one.
Are we?
It feels like
It feels like a prison sentence. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Welcome to the podcast, guys. Episode 2 coming at you right now. It is a beautiful evening. The weather's finally cooled down. Mm-hmm. Kids are finally in the steam, the run of things. We're in a rhythm.
No, we're never in a rhythm.
You don't think we're in a rhythm?
No, absolutely not.
Okay. Well, what are we in?
Avalanche?
An avalanche.
A landslide?
A landslide.
I would say we are in a tumbling motion downhill.
Okay. All right. Well, we appreciate all the love and outreach for the first podcast. It's been pretty interesting. Apparently, people like hearing about parents in suffering. So
Maybe they just like to hear how bad we are at
this
it,
is
so they
probably
feel
true.
better
They'd probably
about
make
their
that.
own parenting.
Yeah, you might be right.
Good job, guys.
Good job, guys. If you've got your kids into school and you're fucking kind of hitting a rhythm by now, congratulations, because apparently we're not.
No.
I thought we were. I'm so dumb I didn't even know we were in an avalanche.
No, well, I mean, when was the last time we made school lunches?
Why? They get free lunch.
Yeah.
Why the fuck would we make lunches here if they get free lunch?
They don't eat it.
So what? That's not our problem. That's not our fucking problem, dude.
Okay. All right.
It's
They'll
not.
starve till they eat it.
I mean, eat the food.
Yeah.
Eat the food that's available,
there's
dude.
something available for everyone.
Eat it. Hold on. Let me see what something's going on here. I think I got a mic that's fucked up.
Oh, it's probably Bronson. He licked this one.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Check. Okay. Yeah, no, that's fine.
I wear a whistle at work and it hangs right by my belly, and I can't tell you how many kids grab it and blow it while I'm trying to get them in line.
Ew.
Yeah,
Ew.
it's really gross.
Ew.
It's patient zero over
Ew.
there. I have like 3 kids out right now too. Totally sick.
COVID?
I'm sure. Yeah. Fuck.
COVID's coming back.
They
huh?
lick everything, so it's definitely COVID. I'm not gonna assume that I have it because I don't. Maybe I'm patient zero, but I have a kid who puts literally he just eats everything that he could touch. He puts in his mouth. So
That's gross.
yeah,
It's gross.
I had a girl chase me with a booger today too.
Ooh, fucking great.
Yeah.
Being a teacher is fun. Huh?
Nope.
Well, what are we doing today? We're talking about, we got a few things we want to go over in our lives. Something that recently has happened, which is a bummer. We had to put a pet down. We've had a dog, Chewy, for 16 solid years.
At least.
I mean, that's at least how old we think she was. We got her in a bad weed deal a long time ago. And we were, what, Scout was 6 months old?
I feel like she was. Chewy might have been 2, and Scout was like just
Right.
born.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. All of the roommates we lived with when
Right.
we were having our first baby, we had 5 roommates, I
This is
think,
true.
at the
yeah,
time.
I think we did. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll remember Chewy fondly,
Yeah.
I think.
So we got Chewy a long time ago, 15 years ago. Scout's 15 now. She was about 6 months old when we got her. She was running down Gonzales here in Oxnard. She was all matted up. Obviously ran away or was just dumped off somewhere, probably that. And we took her from a guy that I used to not sell weed to.
Thank you.
But
Thank you for that.
a guy named Norm. A black guy,
I like
a limo
Norm.
driver. He was pretty awesome.
He
actually.
was actually awesome. Norm, if you're listening, we're thinking of you.
Yes, we love you.
I do miss that guy.
Anyway, So we've had Chewy for a long time. She's been the sweetest dog. I mean, on planet fucking Earth. Just never bit the kids, never got mad, never fucking did nothing. She was constantly under your feet.
Constantly.
One of those dogs that tripped you. I can't tell you how many times I've accidentally kicked her or tripped over her. But the sweetest little fucking dog ever.
She always kind of lived like an old lady, too.
Always.
She never liked going outside.
Yep.
She didn't like walks. She didn't like her feet getting wet. She hated the beach.
Mm-hmm.
She hated like all the things.
Yeah, she was a bitter old angry lady from the day one. We would take her to the beach, and she would literally like nope.
Yeah, she hated everything.
So it was a bummer because it has been a long time coming to put her down, and it fucking hurt. I didn't think it was going to hurt as bad as it did because
She was blind and deaf,
dementia,
and literally under our feet all the time.
Yeah.
And going in circles. She'd circle.
She did a lot of circling. She was not in a good way, and I had brought it up numerous times and was shot down about it. And,
Sorry.
Well, it's okay. I mean, I get it. No one wants to let go of that. But what I will say is that we finally pulled the trigger, took her to a really beautiful little vet. They put her, gave her the shot. And what I'm very proud of and what I thought was a really cool thing was that both of my older kids wanted to be there. And they wanted to be present for it, and they wanted to go through that experience with her. And it was really, really sweet to see them step up and see that portion of life, which is the worst portion, and that's death. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they were with her till the very end, and she went down, and I'll tell you, it was a little fucking weird, man. It was a little weird, like coming home after the next couple days and just not, tripping over something. I know.
I know. The kids are bummed too.
They were bummed, man. And the other dog has finally started to trip out, I think, a little bit.
Yeah.
Jasper is, kind of like, what the fuck? Where's this fucking dog at?
Or now he knows that we're actually getting rid of pets.
Oh,
so you better step it up.
Yeah.
That's why the cat's actually trying to catch mice now.
This is
rather
true.
than just laying around being a fat fuck all the time.
You think it made the other animals
Because he caught two since then, right? He's like at least maimed one. Yeah. And we've had rats for like probably forever. We got the cat initially to get the rats, but the cat
is fat as shit.
So if we were going to put down pets, that's the one I would have voted for.
Yeah. He's an asshole. He eats all the food. He attacks the kids. He's a real fucking nightmare, dude.
I saw him fall out of a tree once, and he just like,
yeah.
like not great.
The only cat that can't land on his feet.
No.
But you really think that the animals have stepped up their game because Chewy's gone?
Yeah.
You think so?
A little bit. They should. They know there's a time limit to your space here.
Jesus Christ.
We don't have a big house.
We don't, yeah.
We already have 3 kids.
Yeah.
We're not getting rid of any of them.
Nope.
Until we get rid of some of the pets first.
Oh, fuck. This is not going to be a good one.
It's the lowest totem, and right now it's all these
tough, man. And for everyone that loves their animals.
And we love Chewy.
And
I'm
just
freaking
out right now like we don't give a shit. This is how we deal with things. This is how fucked up we are.
And it's been 2 weeks.
It's been 2 weeks, yeah. So. It's been a couple weeks, and it's been sad, and we're waiting on her ashes to show up. We got a nice little, beautiful little pine box with her paw print on there, and we're going to be able to keep her with us forever. Mm-hmm. And Chewy, you will be missed. You were the sweetest fucking dog on earth.
I know. She really was.
And, yeah, it's a bummer putting down an animal, man. It really is.
I know, babe.
I didn't think it would hit me that hard, but it kind of did.
I know. R.I.P. Chewy.
R.I.P. Chewy, dude. Be under God's feet now.
Remember the picture that we got painted of her, like stepbrothers?
Yeah, the stepbrothers.
We'll just put up that at the end.
Yeah, I'll throw that up in the edit right now. So that's been a big deal in our lives. What else is going on? Recently my son and myself started jiu-jitsu again.
Nice.
That's been really cool. It's very cool to see King, my son.
Wearing socks?
Wearing socks, actually. Mm-hmm. And working for something. You know what I mean? You go there, we drop him off, and he comes back sweaty as shit and out of breath. And pretty mellow, honestly.
Yeah. Which
is nice.
I agree. I think he needs that kind of like someone to hold him down on a sweaty mat.
Yeah, that's what boys need.
Yeah.
Boys need that. They need that physical fucking like wrestling. They need that physical aspect in their lives. They really do.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean?
I
And
think girls do too.
they do.
look
Yeah,
at the
Scout
other
really
ones.
wants to do boxing and shit, which is we're gonna look into. But
Dangerous.
yeah, that's gonna be a problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, so King's back in jiu-jitsu, which means that I'm back in it. And boy, am I fucking sore.
Yeah.
God damn, dude.
Yeah.
Fuck. I am so.
Well, you literally had a fender bender right as you were.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe that's a part of it.
Yeah.
Maybe you're not as out of shape as you think you are.
Maybe. I don't know. But I have like muscles that are sore in my body I didn't know existed. Like my hips. Like my hips are sore, which is fucking weird. I don't know. I don't know. But it's really nice to see my son in something because King has ADHD really fully. When you talk to him and you see him, he is the epitome of ADHD. He has the attention span of a goldfish. He's very funny. He's very nice. But it's hard to manage sometimes. And when he was in jiu-jitsu when he was younger, I couldn't believe what a difference it really did make for him. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And so to see him back in that now and him wanting to go, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Which is nice. So
Honestly, I would have to say that I like watching King grow up and succeed and stuff.
right.
To be honest, because we didn't get that start for him because his kindergarten year was such a nightmare with
Right,
his teacher.
right.
And she hated him from the go and
Right.
told us to take him out. And unfortunately, I didn't advocate for him as I probably should have.
Sure.
And we let him spin out in that year. But then the next year, he had a great teacher who loved him. And ever since then, I think we've kind of taken the gas pedal off a little bit about our expectations about what King is going to be like.
Well, when he started kindergarten, he was young. Right?
Yeah, he was.
And we did it out of necessity because we both parents have to work in this household. We
Right.
just have to. This is how the world works. It's so hard to be a single income household.
Right.
And so they had a full day program for kindergarten and we had to put him in it. And the teacher was a fucking bitch, dude.
She was a bitch.
She was an absolute nightmare. But in a certain way, she told us that he's too young to be in here.
No, she didn't say too young. What
Well,
she
maybe
said
not.
was, and I'm going to fucking quote this shit because this shit hurt. The first day, and mind you, I'm just going to go 2 steps back and say that I just gotten out of stage 3 cancer
Right,
treatment.
this is true.
Right? King had been through that shit with me. So I had parented through sickness.
Right.
And so I take him to his first day and she said, he does not belong here. Take him back to TK. Mm-hmm. I have 24 kids that can write their name
Right.
and one that can't. And me being a teacher in Oxnard, I said, well, I'm teach 4th grade, dude. I have 15 kids that can't write their fucking name.
Right.
What? You only have to teach one. Big deal.
That's true. Yeah, you're not wrong.
So-
she was a fucking bitch, dude.
Yeah. And then
I'd love to say her name, honestly.
I would too, but I'm not going to. And then after that, she had what she thought was a cancer scare, and she posted it all on her shit on email and said, I don't know if I can teach anymore. I love the kids so much. I'm going to make it through even if I didn't. Turns out she didn't have it because she just rolled with it through the year and then was absent for 6 months. And maybe that's triggering to me in a certain way.
right.
Probably.
After actually going through cancer.
Right. And raising a kid that you said didn't belong in a public school where all children belong. But I will run her over with my car.
We'll edit that part
Yeah,
out. Maybe.
thank you. Thank you.
I'm not going to edit it out. Yeah, it was a rough one. So
But it
King
was
got
unfair.
King
It was
got
unfair.
an unfair start in kindergarten.
Yeah. But his first grade teacher loved him like crazy. And his special ed teacher told me that he was one of the best kids. And then they gave him a good restart.
Right. That's true. Yeah. But it's really nice to see what I think a lot of kids with ADHD, and then maybe this is a good conversation actually. A lot of kids that get diagnosed with ADHD, they may or may not have it. Kids are full of energy. Kids are fucking spastic. Have all sorts of things. I mean, I think it's an overdiagnosed thing a little bit.
They call it a bucket diagnosis.
What do you mean?
And please do not revoke my credentials. But sometimes, like when we diagnose a kid for school, we don't technically have the authority to like actually diagnose them.
Okay.
What we say is that you have the characteristics that match a certain criteria of an umbrella of things that we teach to. Okay. And we've learned these strategies work for this umbrella. But we can't say like, hey, your kid has like autism.
Sure.
Your kid has ADHD.
Sure.
Because honestly, that spectrum is huge.
Right.
What we say is we've seen kids with this kind of criteria.
Okay.
This is what we used to help them get through public school.
Okay.
And unfortunately, sometimes when we say it, please don't revoke me. We say it in a way that sounds like we're diagnosing, right? And then parents assume that we're saying their kid has A, B, and C,
and this.
when honestly, we're just we're struggling to find a way to assess them in a way that we can, you know what I mean? We're just human.
Do you think that a lot of parents these days, we talk about this with our kids a lot, but do you think a lot of parents these days want a medical reason their kid is the way they are?
Yes.
You think that's true?
Right.
I do think that's true, but I mean, you're the doctor, so
I'm not a doctor. And
but I do feel like
I think people want a label.
right, not just children, right?
Oh, hi dog.
Yes.
I think people want a label, and then sometimes when some of the labels hit, they don't want that particular label.
Ah, okay.
Even though it's not a diagnosis, right? It's just like an umbrella of strategies we're going to use.
Almost behavior, like a behavior.
Right. Well, like
diagnosis.
we see your kid doing A, B, and C.
Okay.
Okay. So A, B, and C, the kids that have A, B, and C, we've noticed that I'm gonna cuss. This shit has been helpful to help A, B, and C.
Okay.
Like your kids flapping.
Based on the behavior that
Right.
they have.
Exactly.
Okay.
They're doing these things, but I'm not a medical practitioner, and we test them. But truth be known, I have tested kids at one point and said, "Oh, this kid does not know his alphabet." I tested him less than a few days later, a different way. Knows everything. He just didn't want to. He didn't want to fucking tell me the first time.
Right.
And I think that if we always approach things one way, we're never going to get a full scope of what's happening.
Right. But do you think that, I think a lot of us as parents, you want to assume that your kid is, I don't know. It's like, you don't want your kid to be fucked up, right? You don't want them to have
Kids
the
aren't
things.
fucked up.
I know,
Parents
and
are.
that's what I'm saying. Yes,
parenting podcast.
No, I mean you're not wrong.
No,
Parents
yeah.
are fucked up. We
Yeah.
push our baggage on them. You
100%.
know what I mean? But even say like out of the teacher thing, you can't diagnose a kid with autism till they're what, over how many years old?
They try to do it really young, like 3.
But do you think that's too early?
Well, according to published articles, it's best to get those interventions in early so that you can like really help a kid like manage their whole scope of life. However, what we're noticing is that a lot of kids come with like a lack of language, right? They're not talking. They're missing milestones.
Sure.
They're not doing all the things that people think that they should be doing at that time frame.
Excuse me.
And I am wondering, and I don't want to get fired for this, but I'm wondering if our expectation is off. And I'm gonna point out some things people don't.
You're saying as like teachers or parents.
I'm saying as like a society in general, as all like a philosophical question.
Okay.
Is our like attention off? Because the truth is, we're holding an expectation that isn't true anymore, right? Like we're holding kids to an expectation of scholars that we studied that kids need to be here, here, and here. We don't live in that world anymore. We've had COVID, which has like totally changed the landscape of how kids interact with people. So of course a kid is not going to be socialized if he's been like removed from society for 2.5 years. We've had technology, which has, for better or for worse, made
Changed
kids
the landscape.
like singularly focused on not communicating with others, right? We have people that are raising kids who are raised on technology.
Right.
So they don't have the social skills either, right?
Okay.
And we have like everything else going on too.
Sure.
Right. So I don't know if it's fair to say we know really what's happening.
So we're using an outdated, like an
1,000%.
outdated system to diagnose our kids with.
And
With the thing that we find convenient to be diagnosed with, because now there is an excuse for why your children act the way they do.
I don't want to say I'm the first person to feel that way, but I will say that I see kids change from like really challenging behavior,
Right.
like throwing rocks, trash can lids, horrible things, fists through windows. I see them change relatively quickly.
Right.
I see the strategies we use with those children not change so quickly. Like we are coming at these children who are pretty like cognizant and flip very quickly. We're coming in with them the old rules. Like,
Right.
oh, I heard this kid doesn't like, I don't know, SpongeBob. So I'm always never going to say SpongeBob around him. And we're
Right.
like, hey, we got him to not like, punch everybody that's around him. So now he likes SpongeBob. So maybe we keep moving because we're old people. We don't move as fast as they do. They're quick as fuck and they learn quicker than we do.
Right.
And I feel like we're using old strategies to navigate situations that are always changing. And we ourselves are not changing, and we're trying to intellectualize rather than just really be present
Right.
with a kid. Like
Right,
really be
right.
present and say, this kid doesn't like that anymore. Now he likes worms. This kid, I don't know, he stopped licking things, but now he's eating his boogers. I don't know,
Sure.
whatever it is. Like if you're present, you know that, and that's what parents do. Parents, hopefully.
Well, I mean, I think we're all guilty of not being present with our children.
Yeah, but I honestly, and I hate to say it, but cancer, this gift to me was like, I realized I want to be present with them.
Right. Right. It's a shitty way to realize it, but
Don't fucking blame
God,
over here. Don't blame fucking.
you're blaming Jesus.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Fucking one over here.
Yeah,
a big
I
bitch
think
over
it's
here.
true. I mean, because like I said, with what you do for your work, I don't want to put any real details out there, but
No, I won't.
I do. We talk all the time about, and I see this in the public sphere as well. Kids are adaptable. They change. They're malleable. And the thing is when you put a kid in a box, say ADHD, or I'm not going to say autism because that's a whole other spectrum that I know nothing about. But when that term ADHD specifically, when I think about King, it's a double-edged sword, because now you've put him in a box for this, and you realize that the kid is going to be treated this way for a very long time,
Right.
under these strict guidelines and assertions and prescriptions on how we're supposed to treat this thing.
Which I will say is what we call best practices, right? These
Okay.
are what we've studied and decided were the proper ways to approach a situation.
Right.
But I will tell you that a kid most of the time will tell you the best way to approach them, right? Like that, if you just like actually listen to one,
Right.
even if they can't really communicate, if you just follow one and see what they do, they will tell you what the best practices is to get to them.
Right. Yeah, and you see it with a lot of like, it's just weird, like, because when it comes to all this stuff and now everyone putting each other in labels and raising your kids, because I've talked to so many parents that are like, well, he has blah blah blah,
I know.
and he has blah blah blah, and she has blah blah blah, and it's like, okay, that's fucking fine, like that's fine, great, right? They have autism, they're Asperger's, or whatever, but when you don't when you push a kid to challenge himself or themselves to be free to change a little bit, I feel like you get a little bit more out of it, right?
I would agree, and then you brought up 2 points I want to say, because we knew that King
Yeah.
is uncoordinated, right?
Right. He's wildly uncoordinated.
A total spaz. Watching him do anything
It's frustrating.
is very frustrating and scary. And we took him to, and I remember like I don't remember the hike was on Angel's Crest. It was in Bryce Canyon.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a very dangerous
we went to
hike
Zion
up
National
like
Park.
a giant
Right.
slopey slope with like a rope at one point
Right.
because it was off of a, I don't know, a sheer cliff
Sure.
to 100.
It's true.
100.
I'll never live that hike down.
No,
will
you
I?
won't. You won't.
Yeah.
100 feet down.
Yeah.
So my husband, God love
It
him.
was probably 1,000 at that point.
I know, it was really rough. I'm pregnant.
Right.
I was pregnant
Right.
at this time, like with this last baby.
Mm-hmm.
And we had our daughter who we trust because she's like a fucking ruthless human being.
Mm-hmm.
And King. And I'm walking behind King, watching him walk up this very, very thin
And
trail.
I'm gonna paint this for you. It's a sheer wall,
Okay.
about a fucking, I don't know, 6-foot walkway, maybe half-ass rail, and then let's just, to be safe, call it 400 foot down a cliff.
Yeah.
Is what we're walking on.
Sheer cliff.
Sheer cliff. Like, you're not getting out of that one.
And we
cliff.
just climbed out of the car to find this trail and we're like, hey, let's try this one.
Uh-huh.
Because it's only what, supposed to be like 45 minutes?
Yeah, it was like a less than a
45
mile
minutes
hike.
to a beautiful view.
Yeah, totally.
So we're on our way up, and I'm watching King, and his ankles and knees and his hips don't match. They're all just
Yeah.
like a.
He walks
it's-
like Charlie Chaplin in every
it's
movie you've ever seen him in.
Very painful to watch. So at one point, I just sherped him into the side of the cliff, right?
Right.
Like hipped him into the side of the cliff, and like I was like, well, I just let go of him if we're going down.
Yeah. And in true dad fashion, I'm forging ahead.
Right.
Wondering why no one's
However,
keeping up.
In marriage sake, I said, oh, you think you decided that was so easy?
Uh-huh.
You follow King down. And how long did that last?
It
sir?
was a rough. Dude,
Yeah.
It was a rough.
Just
deal.
watching him descend
God
from that
damn
hill.
it! It's like I've never. It's like you. It's like watching the Roadrunner and the Coyote, and he's both of them at the same time.
It was very.
Yeah, it's rough. But when
He
you
made
put
it.
But the thing is what I see is when you put a kid in a box with
Right.
with your own parenting fears and ideas of how you read information on how you're supposed to handle this and do this, and you don't allow the fucking kid to challenge himself. It's like that whole thing. Like we remember watching that Babies documentary
Yeah, 1,000
where you're
times I
watching
worked
like
at Fitzsalzer's.
babies that are chained to a fucking crib and they're just hanging
They
out.
were tied because
Yeah.
Mongolian parents had to work.
Right.
There are other kids on motorcycles.
Yeah, kids
were-
on
they weren't
motorcycles.
being
You got all
tortured.
these kids, but you don't allow kids to discover the yeses and nos a little bit for themselves. You get a coddled fucking child. You get when mom and dad are always swooping in to help, you don't let the kid discover. Like I watched a really cool thing with Neil deGrasse Tyson the other day. Actually, he was talking about his kids when they were little. And honestly, it made me laugh because it sounded like a fucking nightmare. But he would let his kids wander over the house, and if they grabbed a piece of glass and knocked it off the table and it broke, then they would learn that glass breaks and we don't want to fucking go near it.
Right.
Right? And he made it a point to say that my house is a fucking wreck all the time, but I didn't discourage my kids from discovering the thing.
Right.
Which it sounds fine, but you don't want your kids to get hurt. But when you're constantly swooping in to save them,
They'll never discover.
they're
it.
never going to discover it on their own. And I think that it goes a lot with the mental and the physical attributes that we like, the disabilities that we put on our kids. You know what
Well,
I mean?
and I have to tell you, the one reason why I went into special ed and when I was pregnant with Scout, somebody like this, we lived in the ghetto, right? 5 roommates.
Right.
Not ghetto. We lived
In a not great neighborhood.
not great neighborhood. And this little kid, probably about 3, 4 maybe, had rolled a ball underneath my car. And I was probably, I don't know, 6 months pregnant. I went and retrieved the ball. And by the time I had come up with the ball, the mom had told me that everything that was wrong with her kid.
Right.
She said, "Oh, my kid has autism. He will never speak. He doesn't know how to do this." She was
Right.
making excuses for him because she thought of me as a stranger and she didn't want me to see her kid as a specific kind of thing.
Right.
But the truth is, all I could think was, you just said all of this in front of him, and now his champion in life, the person who brought him out of, I don't know, fucking darkness into being,
Right.
says, "I will never do this shit.
Right.
Why should I fucking try?"
Right. You see,
Right?
yeah,
Like, and
yeah.
because he can hear, right? He's,
Yeah,
I mean,
he's not
maybe he
fucking
can't
deaf.
speak, But if my champion in life thinks I'm never going to do this shit, I'm not even going to fucking do it. And that's what made me think that we were doing this shit all wrong.
Right.
And I have some students that are nonverbal now. And the truth is, I know they know what they have. Like, we have to, this is a really dorky word, though, assume really competence. You have to assume competence.
Okay.
Like, assume that people who even can't speak are listening to every single thing you say.
Well, and they are. Kids
Absolutely.
fucking hear everything.
Right.
They hear everything and they repeat everything.
Right.
You know what I mean? It is true. And I see what you're saying, because we both have been in so many situations where a kid is acting a certain way.
Yep.
And parents get embarrassed of their kid's behavior, and they want an excuse for it.
Or they want to explain it.
Or they want to
deal
explain
with
it away. Right. With the thing, right?
Right.
When you realize most parents have been in your situation, every one of us has great kids that act like assholes every once in a while.
A lot of times.
A lot of times. And that's
Yeah.
what they do, because kids push boundaries in front of their parents all the time, right? I read it, dude. There's a wild statistic that I wish I could pull. I'm gonna pull it up. It was something about kids' behavior.
It was 800%.
Yeah. Okay. So
I
do you
read
remember
that.
the?
Yeah,
you remember the?
yeah.
The
it was
statistic?
800% worse for their parents.
No.
Oh,
for their mothers.
For their mothers. Yeah.
Yeah. Children behave 800 times worse for their mothers than they do their father.
I work at a school where I deal with challenging, impacted youth. Mm-hmm. We have a pretty high functioning toddler here that I walk to school every
Right.
day. He is an asshole every morning when I drop him off.
Yeah, totally.
Every morning I have to do the whole. Okay, he literally took all that money from my play games.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm gonna buy toys when I'm out of here.
Right.
Bye guys. Look at this. And then I walk him down. He has a friend. His friend calls me mommy. Mm-hmm. Probably because it's
That
like one of
pisses
the
him
only
off,
words.
doesn't it?
Oh, it pisses him off.
Bronson gets
He
mad.
gets so jealous. He'll fight. He actually
Yeah.
turned me around the other day, even at the gate, and he's like, "You leave. No, don't talk to her. She don't love you." Poor fucking kid.
I know, poor kid. But why do you think? What is it about kids with their moms that allows them to be so horrendous?
Well, that kid I fucked up.
No, you didn't.
No, and I'm gonna tell you why. I feel like getting back to King,
Okay.
and I'm not blaming his shit on cancer, even though cancer is a great thing to blame shit on. However, in his primitive years, right, when he's like absorbing all the shit, like 3 or 4 or whatever, I was fucking sick.
Sure.
And I did not get to spend all that time. I was tired. I'm sorry. I was tired. I was laying in bed. I was mentally extinguished because
Totally, yeah.
I didn't know.
I was at work all day trying to keep insurance so we could keep fucking.
Right. Me alive.
Yeah.
That was the whole
Yeah.
goal. But I feel like
He was left to his own devices a lot of times.
Right.
with
And he was a
grandma
kid
or
that
whatever.
probably could have. I'm not saying he couldn't have not gone either way because he's a fucking amazing kid no
Right.
matter what. However, I have a little bit of guilt about the time I didn't get to spend like flourishing all of those fucking tiny little things in his life
Right.
because I was not healthy. Okay. And then, so I got a reboot on this kid because, 43, fucking having a baby is old. Mm-hmm. And after cancer, it's even older or whatever. But, so I fucked him up.
Why?
Because I over-mothered him with all the love I was supposed to give King.
You're still over mothering him.
Well, yeah. And I'm probably over-mothering King out of guilt, too. I'm going to over-mother both of my boys. You know who's not going to get over-mothered? Is Scout, because she's a fucking nightmare.
So, I mean, I get it, though, but it's consistent with every kid. Every kid acts like a complete asshole around their mom.
Because they know that's their safe spot.
Is that what it is? So
Yeah.
are kids absolute assholes to their core?
Yeah. Absolutely. They really are. They want what they want when they want it. They
I
don't
guess,
get,
yeah. They have no impulse control. They have
none,
no
zero.
fucking...
Well, how are they going to learn impulse control?
That's true. Yeah.
Who's going to teach them? Their moms? We're giving them a fucking popsicle. This kid has chocolate on his face. I cut his nails today just because, Hey, my coworkers are going to be like,
Hey, yeah. What the fuck?
what are you doing with this kid?
I get it. So they don't learn impulse control from their mothers because their mothers are so busy
Loving them.
loving them.
Which is the biggest important part, right? That's the most important. You have to feel loved. You know your mother loved you.
Of course. And I get it. Kids in his age, the 3 to 5-ish, they hate they love their mom.
Yeah.
It's the only person they can love.
It's boys, though, too.
and
Scout
it's
loved
boys.
you.
Yeah, right. Scout
Right.
loved me. She didn't want anything to do with you at that age.
No.
But, so who's it left up to?
She doesn't want anything to do with me now. It's her teenage
Yeah.
years.
Yeah. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, okay.
But, so it's left on the dads to be the hard ass.
I think it's Freudian, right?
It doesn't. Yeah, fine. It might be. I don't know anything about Freud.
Okay, but he said, like, boys want their moms, girls want their dads.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
But I can tell Bronson to knock his shit off. Bronson's a little bit different. But he will listen to me 10 times more than he'll listen to you.
He doesn't need to listen to me. I'll do whatever he wants. We're symbiotic like this.
You don't see a problem with it?
No, I don't. Because could look at this. And this is why I don't see a problem with it. I know it's painful now.
It's so big.
It's so painful.
Do you know what it's like always
it's a
having to
bit-
be the bad guy?
Okay, but 12 years. That's all you got to be the bad guy.
Oh, okay, sure.
12
What
years.
fucking sales pitch is this?
Because in 12 years, this kid is not going to be a kid anymore. He's going to start making adult decisions, just like all our other grown-up-ish kids are doing. They're riding the public transportation. They're out on scat buses and doing all sorts of shit.
Right.
We have 12 years of youth
Okay.
before they're starting to really make adult decisions.
All right.
So we just have to love them until that, because there's some scary shit out there. School shooting, all this other shit that is scarier than the shit we had to deal with.
I get loving them. Not one part of me doesn't love them forever.
I
I
hold
would
him
murder
accountable.
everyone I knew.
I
to
drop
save
him
their
off
lives.
at school every day. He cries. I say, "Oh, it's so awful." Yes, I know. Here you go.
I know. I get
I
it.
don't cave and
got it.
quit my job.
Yeah.
Like, the consistency is still there, and it's painful. And that's such a stubborn child. So
But
he's
the difference is that
awful.
he wouldn't do it with me.
No, he wouldn't.
He doesn't do it with me.
No, because he doesn't. He trusts. He gives his full emotional response
To you.
Yes.
And that's just what kids their age do.
And honestly, I have kids with challenging behaviors that will maintain for some split second in gen ed. They'll do like what they need to do, and when they come to me, they'll have their like just unravel. And I hate to say it, but the truth is, sometimes controlling your shit is heavy work.
Okay.
Controlling your emotions and behavior
For children.
for all these people is heavy work.
Okay.
And you want to say, "Oh, you need to know all this shit," but the truth is, controlling yourself in a general space is hard
For kids.
for kids.
Well, also some adults too.
No, 1,000%. It's
Yeah.
hard for adults too. Look at all the Karen video, all the shit we have
Right.
of people losing their shit, doing crap.
Right.
But we expect kids to maintain, be respectful, do all this shit. We don't give them any tools. We just
Right.
give them an iPad.
Right.
And then we're saying, we expect this all from you to figure out how to do it.
Sure. Yeah.
So
we're shitty managers.
really
Parents
shitty.
are really shitty managers.
I'm not that shitty.
No, I'm not.
Because
I
I
mean,
let them have their outboard.
obviously we're perfect parents. That's why we're doing this. but I do think you're right. I mean, I think a lot of us are shitty managers, dude.
Yeah.
We fucking don't hand anyone the tools, and we expect the fucking the product to be pristine and not fucked up and defected, right? And then wonder what happened the whole time,
Right.
Like I say it all the time. Every intervention starts with "there was such a happy kid."
You know what I have to say? You said the smartest thing about like parenting through the ages too. I'll just
Okay, please.
You said
I
the
don't remember
smartest
saying it.
thing
Oh,
about parenting
Did you hear that,
through the
everybody?
ages. You, my husband, said the smartest fucking thing.
Damn,
Oh
I'll
Lord,
take
I
it.
just take it everywhere.
Uh-huh.
But you said when they're little, they're physically exhausting because you're carrying all their shit. Like they're diaper bags in their fucking carrier cases and all their shit. Dude. And then when they're
carrying,
and when they're in the middle ages, they're mentally exhausting because they're testing all their fucking bullshit on you all day long. Like, I don't want to do this and blah, 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 blah. And you're mentally exhausted. And then when they reach our daughter's age, they're financially exhausting because every fucking thing they want costs like $20,000. It's just to walk through the door. It's fucking $1 million.
Yeah, every time. Every fucking day.
And it's really true.
Yeah.
And now we have one in each stage.
Right. Yeah, it's true. So we're physically, emotionally, and financially exhausted. Right
on every level.
Every fucking level. It's true. Well, I don't remember saying that, but I know that I did say it. And obviously I'm very smart.
Well, yeah.
And in tune. Speaking of financially exhausted, and King's hitting this age now where he thinks he gets money for every fucking thing he does around here.
He babysits.
And he had the audacity to fucking call me at 7 a.m. yesterday and tell me that I'm supposed to give him $50 for a fucking Kidchella event that was happening.
Okay.
At fucking school. And now he's got my mom roped into this thing. And my mom's going, what the fuck is this? And I'm like, I don't know. No. I don't know what he's talking about. And what it's
emails. It's emails.
Oh, you motherfuckers, dude. These fucking schools with this. I mean, can't we go back to magazine sales, dude? Magazine sales or chocolate sales were a fucking tangible item that you could throw your kids on the street and let them fucking door to door and learn how to be fucking salesmen. Now we have to fucking data mine everyone we know's fucking emails for a possible golden ticket to win a fucking iPhone charger.
You know,
it's insane, dude.
I just use all my old emails that don't exist anymore.
I'm not giving any of it up, dude.
I just use like, I'm all blah, da, 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 da. And then in the title, okay, I'm sorry, all the schools. I say, don't look at this email. Just disregard this email. This is some bullshit.
So what he wanted to do was donate the $50. He just
wants like a squishy thing.
Oh, fuck.
I know. I get
it. Fuck these guys, man. Start selling candy again. Do something.
I have to tell. It's hard, and I know I'm his mom, but it's hard to say no to King because he is such a genuine human being.
Got it. He's the first one that's going to fall for a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
Like hook, line,
100%.
sinker. He'll be in a cult. He'll be fucking. He is convinced that this golden ticket, after giving up everyone we know's emails, is going to get him into a secret fucking club where he's going to win every prize that's on the fucking page.
I know
God damn it, dude.
And God love him.
It's not, dude,
I know.
You're going to get a call from him one day and he's like, I'm in fucking Africa and I'm in a cult and I need help out of here. I finally just figured it out.
Well, okay, but if he was really in a cult, wouldn't Scout lead it?
No.
Yeah.
Possibly. Yeah, that's tough. I don't know how we're going to get out of that one. But he's so goddamn gullible. He literally trusts people when they say things.
My favorite story about him trusting people is when we were in Hawaii and we're in a compact car.
Oh yeah.
And it's a 5-seater at best. It's a 4-seater, but we have all of our family, so it's a 5-seater because that's all we can afford.
Yeah, we have all of us in this car.
And in the rain, he sees a crazy homeless lady with bags. In the rain.
She is the crazy cat lady from The Simpsons.
Yeah, like
it's
she's
like
missing
the
teeth.
version, a human version of that in Hawaii. It's bombing rain as we're driving from one side of the island to the other.
And King's like, hey, we need to stop and give her a ride. we need to stop and give her a ride. And we're like, King, where is she going to sit?
Yeah.
Are you going to sit on her lap? Because by then we're fucking with him because we know this child and he's always been like this.
Best intentions ever.
I know. This kid picks up. Somebody drops something, this kid will swoop in and give it back to them.
Yeah.
But he's all, are you gonna sit on her lap? And he's like, well, I guess I could.
He was gonna do it.
Yeah,
he was absolutely gonna do it.
He was gonna
pick up this crazy cat lady who literally had cats, I think, with her on the side of the road.
Yeah,
in Hawaii.
she looked homeless for a long time.
Dude, she looked like she was going for a ride just out of pure curiosity at this point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And King was ready. He was going to.
Yeah, he wanted to help her. And good for him. I mean, it's very nice. But this kid's going to end up in a fucking cult.
I don't think so.
Oh,
you know
God.
what? You know why? And I will say this about him. That kid has a way of making everyone around him lobby for him. Because literally, when you went to his open house, didn't every custodian know his fucking name?
Right.
They're like, "Hey, King, we love that kid." Every fucking custodian loves him. Every cafeteria lady loves him. He works at the fucking snack bar. He told me his boss, who I'm assuming is the cafeteria lady, made him a cake for his birthday. He fucking finds friends everywhere he goes.
Why is everybody always picking on me? Because my high school friend was the lunch lady.
It's junior high, and he made friends with her. I've watched him many times navigate because he'll look for help.
Yeah, he will.
He'll like rally all the people with him because they're like, why is this kid asking for help?
Yeah, but there's the fucking double-edged sword for me because rather than trying himself, which he can absolutely do,
100%.
the first thing he does is to go for help.
Right.
And yes, he's charming, and our kids are charming, and they're fucking sweet, and they're nice, and they're great
Are they
kids.
all sweet and nice? Though?
No, one of them
Okay.
is. But he is. But the thing is that he will not do the thing himself first. He will come to us before he has ever even thought about trying the thing.
Okay.
And that's what fucking drives me nuts.
I'm glad you said that because that's actually very true.
It is true.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't try for himself.
He can lobby.
He knows that if he fucking charms it up and makes some weird face, that people are going to bend over backwards for him.
Hence why your mom is already on it for $50, right? For him.
My mom did not give him $50.
I know she didn't,
No,
but
there's
she
no
was like,
fucking
"Oh
way.
boy, he needs $50. Guys, give him $50."
Right? Yeah, that's not happening.
He got her to work for him.
Yeah, and I mean, well, okay, maybe. I mean, I get it. You know, maybe it's some sort of advanced manipulation tactic, but
I don't think it's purposefully. I think he really wants the squishy or whatever he gets for the $50 prize. I don't think he just understands Ponzi
these
schemes.
fucking schools. Dude.
I just think that they put it in his brain with all their like, "Hey, get it," and he just bought hook, line, and sinker.
And he's hook, line, and sinker in things.
You know what was funny is he said the funniest joke this morning because I went to Scouts open house last night.
Our daughter.
Our daughter, she's a sophomore in high school, and they do like go to period, right? 10-minute presentations, and this child was there at the school because she's doing her drama club booth for all the.
Oh,
I
is
don't
that
know.
okay? That's
yeah,
what she
so
was
she
there for.
was doing drama club booth while I was going through her classes. As I get there, every fucking parent has this beautiful green sheet of paper with their teachers' names and homerooms written on it.
So
right?
you know where to go.
Where they knew, so the parents knew where to go. I had nothing. Scout had texted me some of her parents' names, and I don't know if you can see this, but half of them just say Mr. V as in a letter.
No class
no
number.
last name, no class number, no what this class is for, just nothing. And she's there. So I go to her first class, it's chemistry.
So you have to. How did you figure it out?
I told her to show me where her first fucking class was because all these parents had green sheets of paper. And so she shows me. I arrive early. He's like every science teacher I've ever seen in my whole history of life. He's a science teacher.
Right.
You just imagine what
In
that looks
love
like.
with science.
He does love science, just like every science teacher that you've ever had in high school. And afterwards, I was like, "Hey, you have homework every night." She's like, "You're flirting with my teacher." I was like, "Yeah, I got his fucking number. He's coming over to teach you science because you're not going to pass without my help." And it was a joke.
Yeah.
So then this morning when I'm driving them all to school, Scout's like, "Mom is flirting with all my teachers." And I was like, "Hey, by hook or by crook, you're going to get a good grade in that class." It's just as a joke. And King, who usually, I don't know what he's doing.
Not paying attention most of the time.
He's all, "Hey, I need good grades in school."
So he's trying to pimp you out to his teachers too.
I don't know if he realized that you had already gone or whatever, but he like literally waited 5 seconds. He's like, "Hey, I need good grades in school."
If
And I
you're
was like,
slinging pussy around here, fucking go ahead.
hit it over this way because homework, I'm not doing it. So maybe he is more manipulative.
Yeah, it could be. That's a
It
good
was
joke,
the
though.
funniest thing.
The
And
King
we
is
laughed all the
he's
way.
got a really good sense of humor.
We
They
did
all
laugh
do.
all the way to school.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's a fucking nightmare, dude. It's insane.
Is it a nightmare?
Back to school is.
Yeah.
I fucking hate back to school night.
Yeah.
I hate it. I can't believe. And look, I know you're a teacher, and I know I get it. But
My back to school's quick.
sure,
Quick and dirty.
no. It's not that. I mean, I don't want to shit on every teacher, but I am so fucking shocked at the lackluster of so many teachers these days. They're like, I got in a class, and I'm an old school dad. I'm like, we got fucking homework, and I hate homework. I would love my kids to not have homework. It's fine. But when I hear a teacher go, I hated this subject in school, and I just don't want them to hate it. And I want them to figure out what they
Okay,
can
well, I'm
figure
totally
out
gonna
and this
disagree
and
with
that.
you.
And I fucking, it drives me nuts a little bit.
Okay, well, I and that's the old school you and you, but I'm going to tell you right now, there's been, and I know I apparently don't listen to studies, but there are studies, many of them, that said on the curve of things that make a big difference in child's intelligence and success in
Sure,
school.
it's not homework.
It is 0%
I know.
homework.
And
It is
I'm with
not
you. I
homework.
do
They
agree
do
with
not
that.
need it. Spend time with your kids. Take them places like even the side of the cliff and Sherpa them down.
Mm-hmm.
But do not waste it on homework time because family is first. Right?
No, I'm with you. Like I understand, I understand it.
Right.
I get it, but I just feel like people are so fucking lackluster in their jobs now.
I don't think it's all teachers. It's some teachers. I
It
don't
is
know.
some teachers, and it was a handful of teachers of when I did the back to school night, I was like,
Well, your teacher
motherfucker,
was
dude.
my mom, so
Yeah, that's true.
zip
and I ended up fucking the teacher's daughter, dude. That's what's
Okay, well,
up.
you know what's funny is that when you sang, when you did that, that cover of "Hot for Teacher," I did not know who you were talking about for a second. With all your splits and your sidekicks, I
So-
was like,
Those of you who are listening probably don't know this.
"Do you want to grab you
Rosie's
another beer?"
no, I'm okay. Rosie's mom was my 6th grade teacher, and her mom was Miss Beam. And she was the nicest lady on earth, silver, long hair,
literally
very
said
nice,
her
very
name.
quiet. And she was my 6th grade teacher. When I met Rosie, I don't know, fucking 6 years later, probably, because Rosie poached me out of the flower bed too
That's
early.
not how it happened.
I met her mom for the first time. Rosie's last name was Shelton, not Beam. And I went to her house to meet her mom, and I walked in the door, and it's my 6th grade fucking teacher. And I went, what the fuck? Miss Beam? And she's like, I remember you. And I went, fuck. You know what I mean?
And she remembered all your sisters.
And she remembered all my sisters, which is way more of a problem. Right. But yeah, it's a weird thing. You know what I mean? But your mom is the nicest human I've ever met.
Yeah?
Hands down, still the nicest. Mother Teresa.
This is not a mom's podcast, right? You're going to cut this
It's not.
out.
I'm just going to go ahead and say she's the
Okay,
nicest
this
one
part
I've
is
ever
all
met.
gone.
Yeah, we're cut this
We're
out.
never going to say anything bad about our moms.
Nope, we can't
This
do
is
that.
not a podcast
You
where
can't cross that.
we ever say anything bad
If
about
you guys
our
want to
mothers.
stay married, do not fucking cross the line of talking shit about each other's mothers.
Never. That's
just not
that's
gonna
an untouchable subject. This is for parenting. This is for marriage topics. But
Right.
if you ever want to stay married, his mother and honestly, I'm not lying about this. Your mom's a fucking angel. I love her. I trust her with all sorts of things. She makes delicious foods.
Right.
I like hugging her. She's the best.
I like hugging her.
Right?
there
She's
you
the
go.
best.
All right, so I want to go over a couple of these. We throw it out there for some topics for the podcast, and we had a few people fucking hit us up, and
Oh,
I'm
shit,
fucking
okay.
this up right now. Let me find one. All right, so we got a couple a couple of suggestions for topics for the podcast. So we want to do this every week. We want to do fan or listener suggestions on topics, right? So we had one that was actually a pretty good one. The topic for this one is people who don't have kids and their opinions on parenting.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So dads don't get this as much as moms do, but
Right.
there are times when you bring your young children who act crazy, they're like wild cats, out in public, and then people without children will shame you while
Yeah.
you're out with them. I had it once when I was back in the old days when I was cashing in my WIC.
Ooh, yeah.
I had my WIC checks, right?
Right.
And these checks in the old days, they weren't like a card. You actually had to get the amount
Yeah,
of ounces of peanut butter that they
Right.
said
You had
on the
physical
thing.
cards,
Yeah,
right?
they're like check. And so you're like, you're allotted for your
X
family
amount of dollars.
8 ounces of peanut butter.
Right.
So, and you have to get these brands.
It
So
was
I
like
had,
food stamps, but for
yeah,
specific things.
we were very poor.
Right.
5
we were.
roommates
Yeah.
back in the old days.
Yep.
Right? We lived in Section 8.
Right.
Right, all the
100%.
things. So I was in line trying to cash these out, and I had a baby here, like a little one, and then one in the cart, and one of them was screaming. I don't remember which one, but it was stressful because a guy behind me who looked hungover as fuck was just trying to get a rock star.
Right.
And I had said, like, please go in front of me.
Right.
And he's like, no, it's fine. And then,
Out.
hi, dog.
Out. You son of a bitch.
It's fine. And then the lady was determined against all of her efforts to put these checks through,
Right.
but she wasn't doing them right. For some reason, it was taking her like
Right.
it felt in suspense like a really long time.
Right.
And all I thought was, this is some shit. Like, I am stuck in this line with 2 babies, this fucking hungover guy next to me, and we worked at Salzers together. Right. We
Right.
worked at a record store together. I've dealt with high people, drunk people for many years. Many years I've dealt with
people covered in blood.
Yep.
Working at that record store,
Held
you
up
get
by
every fucking
gunpoint.
Right, yeah.
We've
There's
done
a
all sorts
lot
of things.
things.
So this guy is like just itching to get his rock star behind me while I'm with these babies and my fucking WIC checks. And this lady's just like, I don't know why this is. I think I could figure it out. And I was like, oh my God, just fucking figure it out.
Right.
And I felt it. I never went
Right.
back to a Ralph's. Sorry, Ralph's.
Right.
With my WIC checks. I don't get them anymore now. But ever again. I went to they have these WIC stores now where you can just cash them in for all the WIC old food.
Sure.
It's
Yeah.
like a...
But also too, I mean, you've had conversations with lots of people that do not have children,
Right, 100%.
that have opinions on how children should act. That's the thing that fucking drives me nuts.
Right.
Is when I talk to someone, it's like, well, fucking kids these days and this and that. And it's like, hey, you're a fucking 30-year-old coke addict, and you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You know what I mean? And 90% of the time, I go fuck yourself until you're in this fucking war, until you are in the thing and you've experienced just the absolute limits of what you think you can handle as a parent, whether it's your kids are young or old.
Sleeplessness.
The sleeplessness
Let's talk
alone,
about
the
that.
sleep deprivation alone, go fuck yourself with your ideas on how things should work. My favorite thing ever is listening to people tell me how they're going to raise their kids.
Well, and
It's
honestly...
my favorite because you just go, fuck you, dude. Good luck.
We haven't-
We're in a sinking ship and we're bailing water,
Right.
you fucking idiot. You know what I mean? This is not, you can plan as much as you possibly want and you're never going to even get close to what you thought you were going to do.
Right, and then honestly, too, like, I totally forgot what I was gonna say. You have to cut all this. But what
No.
I was gonna say was that
Mike,
oh, sorry,
move it to you.
move it
You got to
into
keep
my
it close
mouth.
to you, lady. Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm
That's how we stay married.
That's what
for
I'm talking about.
20 plus years.
Uh-huh.
But no, you're right. They decide that that's the way they're going to raise
Sure.
their kids.
Yeah, I love
But
it.
they
I
have
love
no
it. I love it. I
kids.
love it.
In the mix.
Yeah, when you don't have kids, you have no fucking idea. Now, there's also people that have young children,
maybe just one
child,
Not like we're
right? And
judging.
they do the thing where, oh, my kid doesn't, and my kid does, and it kind of goes back to what we talked to, that they limit their kids on what they can do and what they can't do or whatever. And I have a problem with that too. I just go, you know what, man, fucking, I'll never forget one time we went to a
San Francisco.
No. Well, yeah, we should talk about that. But we went to where did we go? Some sort of a baby shower or something. And it was at one of our friends' houses. And we're deep in the mix of raising kids. King's like fucking 2, Scout's 4. We're there at this thing, and the kids are playing in the yard, and they get dirty as shit. And I remember hosing off my kid.
In the yard?
Off King in the yard with the hose.
Was it Jen?
I don't know who it was. I can't remember. But we were at this party, and I remember, like, we got all these, like, young parents that are about to have children.
And we had toddlers.
And we had toddlers. And
they were rough.
Just damage control. And King is a dirt grub. He looks like a fucking dirt grub all the time. And so before we left, rather than put a dirty, muddy child in my car because they were swimming in a pool, I fucking grabbed the hose in the front yard and I held him and I just squirted him down with it. And I remember all these parents looking at me like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? And it's like, hey, you don't understand yet, but you're gonna. You know what I mean? You're absolutely gonna understand what the fuck this is here in a minute.
I actually thought about this morning, but I totally have the same situation when we took both of our kids, toddlers, over to someone's apartment who was pregnant, newly pregnant. Mm-hmm. And one of our kids, I won't say who, but it rhymes with bling, he was crawling around their lamp like 1,000 times. Like he was just circling around their lamp.
Right.
And the person was like just staring at him.
You could tell
and they're like, what is that kid doing? And I was like,
he's going to knock over your lamp.
Sometimes they just glitch out like that and then goes in circles. It's cool, right? Like, that's cool. Yeah. And I remember that clearly because they were like pregnant, like I'm expecting a genius in my belly.
Oh, yeah.
And
every
your
kid in your belly
is just circling my lamp like 1,000 times.
Like a moth.
And I was like, well, I don't know. Sometimes they
just glitch out.
They just glitch out.
Fucking glitch
it's
out.
fine. Don't touch him.
He'll be fine in a minute.
He was. Yeah. What I was going to say was that we haven't slept past 6 a.m. in probably, 16
years. I mean, for sure, dude. Yeah. 16 fucking years.
Our kids have never slept.
We did get a reprieve a little bit when the kids were older before Bronson.
Sorry.
We got a little bit of fucking just
that was a sideshow.
Like there's like an actual whole night of sleep at one point.
Yeah, probably.
But, yeah, man. I mean, if you have no kids, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. You have no fucking clue what you're talking about, dude.
Babysit ours.
You have never been to war. It's like it's honestly, it's stolen valor is what it is. It's a fucking person that thinks they know what the situation is and they're going to claim that they understand and they've never fucking experienced it.
You know what?
It's the equivalent. Someone with no children telling someone how to raise kids is the equivalent of a guy that fakes that he was in the military. To me.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It really is.
I think that they're holding an expectation that is so unrealistic that they're eventually going to end up like having kids and then be like, what happened?
What the fuck?
And then what happens is maybe they don't raise them, and that's why we have all this other shit going on.
Yeah, maybe, possibly.
Because they're like, oh, it was harder than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Oh, he keeps licking things. Oh, he's putting everything in his mouth.
So many things in the mouth. It's insane. Our Bronson doesn't do that. It's wild. He's never put shit in his mouth. You have the kids that put shit in their mouth every fucking 5 minutes.
King.
And you have kids that Bronson likes to wash his hands.
Does he?
No, he really does. He thinks it's very fun. With me, he does. I don't know what he does with you.
No, he seemed pretty grimy this morning. But
well, yeah.
I will say that Bronson has a scout energy. I would say that out of our 2 kids, the ones I worry less about in the world, like, are they going to become Scientologists? Are they going to are they going to give all their money to a Ponzi scheme? Are they going to, I don't know, like fall into a crack house that they thought was a fun house? Scout and Bronson
are
the ones I don't worry about doing this.
That's true.
King, I kind of worry that he's going to think
That's
that's
true.
a fun house. Maybe if it's boarded up, oh, a secret. And then he find drugs.
Yeah.
But Bronson's...
Yeah, I know. I mean, they're all different. You never know, but yeah, I do agree. I mean, but Bronson, he likes to wash his hands. He likes to do things, and then you have other kids that fucking circle lamps all day. You know what I mean? And it is what it is, and it's fine. And they're all going to be fine. That's the fucking thing. They're all going to be fine. Some of them are late bloomers. Some of them fucking bloom early. Some of them peak early. Some of them fucking peak late, and that they're all going to be fine as long as you can lead with love. And try not to fuck them up too much, you're going to be just fine, right?
Well, I think that's as long as you keep family, if you keep doing shit.
Right.
Like you don't hold the expectation that this kid can't.
Right.
And rather than like, I'm going to take this kid to all the places that we go to. I guess if he cries the whole time, he cries the whole time.
Right.
Like we're going to keep doing it anyway.
And that was a lesson that we learned.
Yeah.
From your mom one time.
Right.
It sucked.
It did suck.
We had a trip, so this is kind of actually we meant to have this be the topic for the whole podcast.
It wasn't a whole podcast.
No, but it's a good point. We had Scout. She was maybe 4 months old. We had booked a trip to San Francisco, and we thought like
Sexy
assholes
time.
for sexy time. And we thought like this is before San Francisco was a absolute hellscape. By the way, we had thought that we were going to be able to escape for a weekend, leave our kid with somebody, and go actually be adults for a minute.
But I'm going to time out on this because our moms, we're both like one of at least 6 or 7.
Children.
Yeah, a million children. So access to grandparent like caregiving
Is very
not something
minimal.
that we have in store. No. Like our parents are like, when it comes to like, some grandparents are out there like, I never get time with I'll take them, I'll do all the things. Our grandparents are like, no,
Motherfucker.
we already have like these
There's
3
45
living.
kids here.
Yeah,
today.
there's already 3 living in our house, so we don't want yours. But
so I remember, Rosie basically said, "Hey mom, we want to go to San Francisco for the weekend and leave Scout." And what did your mom say?
she said she's your kid now. So you take her where you go.
Yeah. You take them with you.
Yeah. She said,
Right.
she's your kid now. So you take her where you go.
Right. And and in retrospect, it felt fucking rude.
Yeah. My
because
mom's
we wanted,
really good at that.
Yeah.
And she'll never watch this podcast because she doesn't even get it.
She doesn't know how to work a
Phone
phone.
calls
Right.
or text messages. Larry.
But she wasn't wrong. So what it was is we had a 4-month-old baby that we decided to try to drive to fucking San Francisco and get a hotel and be there for the weekend. And it was the best thing to ever happen to us because we had to learn to deal with our children. Being in a car with a kid that's fucking mad and screaming for an hour or whatever the fucking
She screamed the whole time, remember?
Yeah, as a parent, I remember when we first had our kid, when we first had Scout, we tried to drive to Salzers once.
Yeah,
right?
We had to stop at
Chevron because Scout was screaming. That's how nervous we were.
And we lived in Montalvo, so we only lived 2 blocks away.
It was literally a mile away.
Yeah.
And she was screaming in the car, and me and myself included, she's screaming like she's dying in the car seat.
And we got out of the car and all panicked.
Right. And this is on video
Chevron.
somewhere. I would love to get that video, by the way.
I think I have pictures of it, of me holding her, just because I'm literally giving her love before we get to Salzers, where we worked and met.
Showcase our child, basically, to them.
Yeah,
is what we were doing.
Because we met there and fell in love.
Yeah, that's true. Probably made her there, but...
Shush.
Yo.
Okay.
So, but the thing is it's a really good thing to understand is it's your fucking kid now. You need to learn to fucking deal with your kid.
Yeah.
Whether in all the good and all the bad. You know what I mean? And that was one of the hardest lessons we learned because taking a 4 or 5 hour car trip with a fucking 4-month-old was rough, but it broke the barrier on what we could do. And we realized that you have to, as a parent, take and include your kid in everything you do.
Well, now I'm taking it as you have to, as a teacher, teach your 6th grade student lessons about taking your kid places. Maybe that's what my mom was doing. She was like, never stop teaching.
Right.
Craig.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So yeah, parenting is awesome. Dude, don't coddle your parents. Don't coddle your kids. Don't put them in a box. Challenge them to get outside of the thing. Try not to fucking allow them to be that stagnant thing that you've created them to be. That's what I would say for this podcast.
I would say just love them because you're going to do right by them.
Also, be a dad sometimes.
Okay, but...
Tough love works, okay? Push your kids past their little boundaries. Not so much that you hurt them, but a little bit further than they think they want to go.
Well, I'm glad they have a dad.
Yeah, I'm a dad, dude. All right. Well, I think that's a good spot to end. Thank you for tuning in to episode 2. Please, guys, like and subscribe. You can follow us on Spotify. You can follow us on YouTube, also iTunes and all the other podcast forums. Check us out on Instagram. Breaking the Bar Pod is the handle for everything. We would love more submissions from you guys. You guys can write in. You can text. You can send us DMs. You can leave us voicemails if you want about topics or anything going on in your lives. Thank you so much. We will see you next time.